David and Mia had finally moved into the house they had dreamed of for years. It was a small two-story home in a quiet neighborhood, with neat lawns and wide streets lined with tall trees. The air smelled fresh and the sunlight made the white walls of the house shine. They felt happy and proud. After months of searching, they had found a place that felt like home. The first morning in the new house, David stepped outside to water the small garden near the front door. He loved planting flowers, and this little space would soon bloom with colorful petals. He hummed a soft tune while working, feeling the soil crumble between his fingers. Mia watched from the window above, smiling at his concentration. She felt peaceful, knowing that they had started a new chapter in their lives. As David leaned down to plant a bright yellow flower, he noticed a woman walking slowly down the street. She was dressed neatly, wearing sunglasses and a sharp expression. David waved politely. The woman paused, glanced at him, and then walked closer. "Good morning," David said, trying to sound friendly. The woman did not smile. "I am Linda," she said in a firm voice. "I am part of the homeowners association here. I like to meet all new residents. I hope you are aware of the rules in this neighborhood." David nodded, a little unsure. "Yes, we are just getting settled. We will make sure everything is fine." Linda's eyes narrowed as she looked at the house. She stepped closer to the front door, as if inspecting every corner. Mia had come down to greet her, and she gave a soft wave. Linda barely acknowledged the wave. She made a quick, sharp nod and then turned away, walking down the street with purpose. David shrugged and went back to planting flowers, thinking the woman was just strict and liked to check every new neighbor. For the next few days, David and Mia focused on arranging their new home. Boxes were stacked in neat rows, and each room slowly became livable. They hung pictures on the walls, arranged furniture, and even set up a small reading corner for themselves. Every evening they would sit in the living room, drinking tea and enjoying the calm atmosphere of their neighborhood. One afternoon, while Mia was watering the small backyard, she noticed some neighbors talking quietly and glancing in their direction. She felt curious. "David," she said, "do you see that? They are looking at our house and whispering." David looked up. He saw two neighbors standing across the street, talking and pointing. "Maybe they are just curious," he said. "We are new here. It is natural for people to notice." But Mia felt uneasy. She decided to ask one of the neighbors what was happening. "Excuse me," she called softly, walking over. "Is everything okay?" The neighbor hesitated for a moment, then whispered, "It's Linda from the HOA. She has been complaining about rules violations. I am not sure exactly what, but she seems upset." Mia returned to the house and told David. He frowned slightly but tried to stay calm. "Let's not worry too much. We have not done anything wrong and we should be polite. Maybe she just likes to be strict." The following morning, David was trimming the bushes near the front gate when he heard a voice behind him. "Good morning," the voice said sharply. David turned to see Linda standing at the gate again. She seemed to be inspecting the lock and the small garden. "Hello, Linda," David said politely. "Can I help you?" Linda's eyes scanned the area. "I need to check the gate," she said. "Some rules say it must be in a certain condition." David stepped forward. "I'm sorry, but you cannot enter the property without permission. Everything is fine here." Linda frowned and muttered something about rules before walking away. David closed the gate and sighed. When he went inside, Mia asked, "Was that really necessary?" David shook his head. "She is very strict. I think she likes to control everything. We just need to be patient and polite." That night, David and Mia sat on their porch enjoying the cool evening breeze. The house was quiet, and the sky turned orange and pink with the setting sun. They felt a little tension from the encounter, but they also felt lucky. They had each other, and they had a home that felt safe. "I hope she will leave us alone soon," Mia said softly, leaning on David's shoulder. David smiled and kissed her forehead. "Let's not let it worry us. We will enjoy our home and handle things calmly. People like her usually calm down when they see everything is fine." As the stars appeared in the sky, the couple felt a sense of peace. Their journey in the new neighborhood had just begun, and they knew that life would bring challenges. But together, David and Mia felt confident that they could face anything, even the strictest neighbors. The quiet of the night wrapped around the house like a soft blanket, and the couple went inside, ready to rest and prepare for the days ahead. They did not yet know that the real challenge with the HOA had only just begun. The next morning, David and Mia woke to a bright, sunny day. Birds chirped outside, and the fresh scent of flowers from their small garden filled the air. The couple decided to take a walk around the neighborhood to meet a few more neighbors and get a sense of the community. As they walked, they waved at people tending their lawns and smiling children playing on the streets. Most neighbors returned the greetings warmly, but a few glanced at them with curious expressions. Mia felt a little uneasy, remembering Linda's strict behavior the day before. When they reached a small park nearby, they met a woman named Nora, who lived just a few houses away. She was kind and friendly, and invited them to a small neighborhood gathering happening the next weekend. "It's a great way to meet everyone," she said with a smile. Mia and David thanked her and felt encouraged that some people in the neighborhood were welcoming. Returning home, Mia noticed that their mailbox had a small envelope tucked inside. Curious, she opened it carefully. Inside was a printed note from the HOA signed by Linda. It mentioned violations of neighborhood rules but was vague about the details. It complained about the height of the bushes and the placement of their welcome mat. Mia frowned. None of these things were against any real rules, but it was clear that Linda was trying to intimidate them. David read the note and then looked at Mia. "We have nothing to worry about," he said calmly. "This is just a misunderstanding and we can handle it politely." Mia nodded, but she could not ignore the growing tension. "I just hope she does not try anything more," she said quietly. Later that afternoon, David was in the garage organizing tools when he heard a loud knock at the front door. He opened it to see Linda standing there with her arms crossed and a serious expression. "I need to inspect the house again," Linda said firmly. "It is my duty to ensure that all new residents follow the rules. I cannot allow any exceptions." David took a deep breath and replied calmly, "Linda, you cannot enter our home without our permission. We are following the rules and everything is fine." Linda's face tightened. "I have the authority to make sure everything is correct. You must let me in." David shook his head. "No, I am sorry. You may check the outside if you like, but the inside of the house is private property. We cannot allow it," Linda muttered under her breath, clearly frustrated, and left without another word. David closed the door and leaned against it, feeling a mix of relief and concern. Mia, who had been inside watching from the window, joined him. "I did not like how she acted," she said. "She is not just strict. She is unreasonable." David nodded. "We will just keep being polite and firm. She cannot force us to do anything against our rights." As the day passed, David and Mia tried to continue with their unpacking and organizing, but the tension lingered. They kept an eye out for Linda and hoped she would not return. That evening, a neighbor named Tom knocked on their door. He was older and lived across the street. "I saw the note from the HOA," he said. "Do not worry too much. Linda can be difficult, but she cannot break the rules. You are allowed to protect your home." Mia felt a little comforted by Tom's words. "Thank you," she said. "It is good to know that someone understands." Tom nodded and smiled. "I just want everyone to get along. If you need advice, I am here." After Tom left, David and Mia sat together on the porch watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. "We have to stay calm," David said softly. "This is a good neighborhood and most people are friendly. We cannot let one person ruin our peace." Mia leaned on his shoulder. "You are right. We will be careful and kind but firm. We have each other and that is what matters most." Later that night, the couple discussed ways to handle future encounters with the HOA. They decided to document everything in writing and to stay polite but assertive if Linda returned. They also thought about talking to other neighbors to understand how they handled similar situations. As they went to bed, the street was quiet, and the lights from neighboring houses cast a soft glow. David and Mia felt ready for the challenges ahead. They knew that moving into a new neighborhood sometimes meant facing people who tested their patience. But together, they felt confident they could handle anything, no matter how strict or unreasonable it might seem. The first real test with the HOA had begun, but David and Mia were determined to face it with calm, courage, and respect. The next morning, David and Mia were enjoying a quiet breakfast when a sudden knock on the door made them startle. David set down his coffee and walked to the front door carefully. When he opened it, he saw Linda standing there with a determined look on her face. "I am calling the police," she said firmly. "You are not following the HOA rules. I have the right to report violations." David remained calm. Linda, please do not call anyone. We are following the rules. You have no reason to come inside the house or force us to do anything. Everything is fine, Linda frowned. You will see. I'm not leaving until this is resolved. Minutes later, the sound of sirens filled the quiet neighborhood. Blue and red lights flashed outside, reflecting on the windows of the house. 2 police officers walked up the path, their expressions serious. David and Mia felt their hearts beat faster, unsure of how the situation would unfold. One of the officers approached David politely. Good morning, sir. We received a complaint about potential rule violations at this house. Can you explain the situation? David nodded and spoke calmly. Yes, officers. We are new to the neighborhood. Linda, the HOA representative, believes we are breaking some rules, but we have not done anything wrong. She tried to enter our property without permission, and I asked her to leave. The officer listened carefully, jotting down notes. Meanwhile, Mia stood a few steps behind David, feeling tense. She had handled stressful situations in her life before, but she hoped the officers would understand their side. Linda started speaking loudly, insisting that she had authority to inspect the property. The second officer nodded politely and asked her to calm down. Ma'am, we need to understand both sides. Please step back so we can speak with the homeowners, he said. As the officers examined the scene, one of them took a closer look at Mia. His expression suddenly changed. His eyes widened and he froze in place. David noticed immediately that the officer was staring at Mia with surprise. Commander Mia, the officer whispered, almost unable to believe his own words. Mia smiled gently. Yes, that is me. I used to work as a commander in the police department in another city, she said softly. The officer straightened and immediately showed respect. I did not expect to see you here, he said. It is an honor to meet you again. David and Mia felt the tension shift. The officers now treated the situation with seriousness and respect. Linda, however, seemed confused and frustrated, unable to understand why the officer's attitude had changed. The officer who recognized Mia stepped forward. Ma'am, we will handle this situation professionally. You cannot enter someone's property without permission. The homeowners are within their rights to protect their home. David breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you, officers. We just want to live in peace and follow the rules properly. Linda tried to argue, but the other officer calmly interrupted. Ma'am, the law is clear. You may make observations from the street, but you cannot force entry. Please step back. Seeing that she was outnumbered and that the officers respected Mia's authority, Linda finally took a step back. She muttered something under her breath and left the property, walking quickly down the street. Once Linda was gone, the officer turned to David and Mia. We just wanted to make sure everything is safe, he said. You have done nothing wrong. We advise you to continue documenting any future interactions with the HOA in writing, but you are fully within your rights. Mia nodded, feeling a wave of relief. Thank you. I appreciate your professionalism. We only want to live in peace and enjoy our home. David smiled at Mia, proud of how calmly she handled the situation. I did not know the officer knew you, he said quietly. Mia chuckled softly. Sometimes the past comes back in unexpected ways, she replied. The officers left after giving some advice on how to handle future complaints. David and Mia closed the door and leaned against it, finally letting out the tension that had built up for days. I cannot believe this happened on our first week in the neighborhood, David said. I thought moving here would be peaceful. Mia smiled reassuringly. We cannot control other people's behavior. We can only stay calm, be polite, and know our rights. That is what matters. Later, the couple sat together on the porch, watching the neighborhood return to its quiet rhythm. The sun was low in the sky, painting the streets in warm orange light. For the first time since moving in, David and Mia felt truly safe and confident that they could handle any challenge. The encounter with the police had been unexpected, but it had shown them that staying calm and knowing their rights could make all the difference. They knew that Linda might return, but David and Mia were now ready to face her calmly and wisely together. The morning after the police visit, David and Mia woke up feeling more relaxed than they had in days. The events of the previous afternoon had been tense, but they were relieved to know that they were protected by the law and by Mia's experience. For the first time since moving in, they felt they could enjoy their home without constant worry. Mia decided to start her day with some gardening. She loved planting flowers and arranging the small yard. David joined her, carrying pots and soil. The sun shone warmly on their faces, and the air was filled with the gentle scent of flowers and fresh grass. For a moment, the neighborhood felt calm and quiet, just like they had hoped. As David planted a row of bright marigolds, he noticed a movement from the street. A car slowly drove past their house, and David realized it was Linda. She rolled down her window and waved, but her expression was serious. David ignored her and continued planting. After a while, David stepped inside to fetch some water for the plants. Mia stayed outside, kneeling in the soil and arranging flowers with care. She felt calm and focused, enjoying the peace of her work. That was when she heard footsteps approaching. She looked up and saw one of the police officers from the previous day walking toward her. Mia smiled and stood. "Good morning," she said politely. The officer's face lit up. "Commander Mia," he said, smiling with recognition. "It is good to see you again. I wanted to check that everything is okay after yesterday's situation." Mia nodded. "Thank you for coming." "We are fine. Everything has been calm so far." The officer looked around. "It is always better to be safe. I also wanted to let you know that your quick explanation yesterday helped resolve the situation quickly. The HOA complaint could have caused more confusion, but you handled it very professionally." Mia felt a wave of gratitude. "I appreciate your support. We just want to live peacefully and make this neighborhood a friendly place." David joined them, carrying the watering can. "We are lucky to have officers who understand," he said. "It makes us feel safe." The officer nodded. "We are always here to help. If anything unusual happens, you should call us immediately, but it seems that your home is in good hands." After the officer left, David and Mia continued with their gardening. The neighborhood seemed calmer now. Some neighbors waved politely from their yards, and children played in the street. The couple felt hopeful that things could return to normal. Later that afternoon, Mia suggested they write a polite letter to the HOA board. She explained that they were new residents and wanted to follow all rules, but they also wished to have clear communication to avoid misunderstandings. David agreed. They drafted the letter together, making sure it was respectful and professional. Mia read the letter aloud. "We are grateful for the welcoming of this community. We are new to the neighborhood and hope to follow all the guidelines set by the HOA. We kindly request that any concerns be communicated clearly so that we can address them promptly. We look forward to being good neighbors." David nodded. "It sounds perfect. It is polite, firm, and clear. I think this will prevent future problems." Once the letter was ready, Mia suggested dropping it in the HOA mailbox. They walked together down the street carrying the envelope. As they reached the mailbox, Linda appeared again. Her expression was serious, and she seemed prepared to argue. Mia held the envelope calmly. "Good afternoon, Linda. We are sending this letter to the HOA board to clarify any misunderstandings. We hope it will help prevent future problems." Linda glanced at the letter but did not respond immediately. She muttered something about rules and walked away without causing a scene. David and Mia exchanged a look of relief. It seemed that their careful and polite approach was working. Back at home, they settled on the porch with a cup of tea. The sky was painted with shades of orange and gold as the sun began to set. David reached for Mia's hand. "We are doing the right thing by staying calm and clear," he said softly. Mia smiled. "Yes, patience and communication are stronger than conflict. People often respect kindness when it is firm and confident." The evening air was cool and gentle. David and Mia could hear the soft laughter of children playing in a nearby yard and the occasional greeting of neighbors passing by. The tension from the previous days began to fade. For the first time since moving in, the couple felt a true sense of belonging. They realized that patience, calmness, and respect could turn a difficult situation into a learning experience. Their home was safe and their relationship stronger. They knew that challenges could arise again, but together, they were confident they could face them wisely. As night fell, the couple went inside, ready to rest. Their home was peaceful, and for the first time in weeks, the neighborhood seemed like a place where The following morning, David and Mia woke up to another sunny day. The garden looked brighter now, with the flowers they had planted starting to bloom. The calmness of the morning gave them a sense of hope. They wanted to enjoy their home without thinking about past conflicts. After breakfast, Mia suggested they take a short walk around the neighborhood. She wanted to meet more neighbors and get to know the community better. David agreed. As they walked, they greeted people tending their lawns and jogging along the street. Many waved back warmly and some smiled at the couple. For a moment it seemed like the neighborhood was peaceful and welcoming. But then, as they approached the corner house, Mia noticed Linda standing near the sidewalk, talking to another neighbor. When she saw David and Mia, her eyes narrowed. Mia felt a small wave of tension rise inside her but stayed calm. David noticed it too. "Let's continue walking," David whispered. Mia nodded. They passed by without stopping, keeping polite smiles but not engaging in conversation. Linda muttered something under her breath and turned away. When they returned home, David noticed a small group of neighbors gathered near the park across the street. Some waved at them, while others whispered quietly. Mia felt curious. "I wonder if they are talking about us," she said. David shrugged. "Maybe. People are naturally curious about new residents. Let's just stay calm and be polite. That is the best way to handle it." Later that afternoon, a knock came at their door. David opened it carefully and found one of the neighbors, Tom, standing there with a friendly smile. "Hello," Tom said. "I thought I would check on you two. I heard about the previous issues with the HOA. Are you managing okay?" Mia smiled. "Thank you, Tom. Yes, we are fine. It has been a bit stressful, but we are handling it calmly." Tom nodded. "Linda can be strict, but I want you to know that most of the neighbors appreciate people who follow the rules and are kind. If you ever need advice, I am happy to help." David and Mia felt encouraged. Tom's visit reminded them that not everyone in the neighborhood was difficult. Some people genuinely wanted harmony and were willing to help. After Tom left, Mia suggested they start planning a small neighborhood meet and greet at their house. "It could be a good way to introduce ourselves and show that we are friendly neighbors," she said. David agreed. They spent the rest of the afternoon preparing a simple invitation and thinking about small refreshments to offer. Evening came, and they sat on the porch sipping tea. The sunlight faded slowly and the neighborhood grew quiet. "I think people will appreciate our effort to bring everyone together," David said. Mia nodded. "Yes, it is always better to focus on positive connections than arguments. Hopefully, Linda will see that too." The next day they went to deliver the invitations to their neighbors. Some accepted warmly while others looked hesitant. Mia and David stayed patient, smiling politely and explaining that it was just a small gathering to get to know everyone. Meanwhile, Linda appeared again. She crossed the street slowly, keeping her eyes on David and Mia. She frowned when she saw the invitations, clearly displeased. "I don't think this is allowed without HOA approval," she muttered, but David remained calm. "Linda, this is a friendly gathering to meet neighbors." "We are not breaking any rules," David said politely. Linda did not respond further. She walked away, muttering under her breath. David and Mia exchanged a small smile, knowing they were handling her behavior wisely. A few days later, the gathering took place. A small group of neighbors came to David and Mia's house. They introduced themselves and shared stories about the neighborhood. Mia and David listened and spoke kindly, making everyone feel welcome. Even some neighbors who had whispered before started joining the conversation. The atmosphere was warm and friendly. Mia realized that building positive connections was stronger than arguing over rules. David felt proud of how Mia handled the situation with calm and intelligence. By the end of the gathering, most neighbors had left smiling, thanking David and Mia for the effort. The couple felt satisfied, knowing they had taken a difficult situation and turned it into a chance to build goodwill. Later that evening, they sat on their porch, watching the sun set behind the trees. "I think we are finally making progress," Mia said softly. David nodded. "Yes, the key is patience, calmness, and kindness. People respond better to respect than to conflict." The quiet of the night settled over the neighborhood. David and Mia felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. They knew Linda might still cause trouble, but they were confident they could face any challenge with intelligence and patience. For the first time in many days, they felt a true sense of peace in their home. They had turned a stressful situation into an opportunity to strengthen their place in the community. Together, they were ready to face whatever came next, knowing that respect and calmness were their strongest tools. The morning after the neighborhood gathering, David and Mia woke up feeling lighter than they had in weeks. The previous evening had been a success. Seeing neighbors smile, laugh, and greet each other had given them hope that life in the neighborhood could become truly peaceful. They decided to start the day with a small breakfast on the porch. As they sipped their tea, David noticed a few neighbors walking by, waving at them. Mia waved back, feeling encouraged by the friendly gestures. It seemed that the atmosphere in the neighborhood was slowly changing, and the couple felt proud of the small step they had taken. After breakfast, Mia suggested that they tidy up the garden and make it even more welcoming. David agreed, and together they spent the morning planting new flowers, trimming the hedges and arranging small decorative stones along the garden path. The activity gave them a sense of accomplishment and also distracted them from any lingering worries about Linda or the HOA. While they worked, they saw a few neighbors from a distance smiling and nodding in acknowledgement. Mia realized that small gestures of friendliness could slowly create bonds that even strict neighbors could not ignore. David smiled at her. "I think people are starting to notice our effort," he said. Just as they were finishing, they heard a familiar voice from the street. Linda had appeared again, her expression serious and determined. She walked up to the gate and stopped, looking around critically. David walked over calmly. "Good morning, Linda. How can we help you today?" Linda crossed her arms. "I want to make sure that everything is in order," she said. "Some rules might not be followed properly. I am responsible for this neighborhood." Mia stepped forward, maintaining a calm and firm voice. "Linda, we are new here and we are following all the rules. We also sent a polite letter to the HOA to clarify any misunderstandings. We hope that this will prevent future issues." Linda's eyes narrowed. She seemed frustrated but said nothing further. After a moment, she turned and walked away, muttering quietly to herself. David and Mia exchanged a small smile, realizing that their calm and respectful approach was working. Later in the day, David suggested they take a walk to check on the mail and see if there were any new notes from the HOA. Mia agreed. As they walked, they saw some neighbors tending their gardens, children playing, and a few people walking their dogs. The neighborhood seemed peaceful, and David and Mia felt a renewed sense of belonging. At the mailbox, Mia found a small envelope. Inside was a note from the HOA board acknowledging the letter they had sent. It stated that the board appreciated their willingness to communicate politely and requested that any future concerns be discussed directly with the HOA rather than with individual residents. Mia felt relieved. "This is good news," she said. "It shows that clear communication works." David nodded. "Yes, respect and patience are stronger than arguments. We have shown that we can handle conflicts calmly." That evening, David and Mia decided to spend time with their neighbors who had attended the gathering. They invited a few over for tea and light snacks. Conversations flowed easily. People shared stories about their lives, their work, and their experiences in the neighborhood. Laughter filled the room, and Mia and David felt a sense of community they had not experienced before. Even some neighbors who had been quiet during the gathering now spoke up, sharing their thoughts and smiling more openly. The atmosphere was warm and friendly, and the couple felt proud that they had helped foster such connections. After the visitors left, David and Mia sat on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The sky was painted in soft shades of orange and purple, and a gentle breeze moved through the trees. Mia rested her head on David's shoulder. "I feel like things are finally improving," she said softly. David squeezed her hand. "Yes. It is amazing how patience, kindness, and clear communication can change people's attitudes. Even Linda will have to notice that we mean no harm and want to be good neighbors." The couple sat quietly for a few moments, listening to the gentle sounds of the neighborhood settling for the night. They knew that challenges could still arise, but they were confident that with calmness and respect, they could handle anything. That night they went inside, feeling a sense of peace and accomplishment. Their home felt safe, and their connection with the neighborhood had grown stronger. They understood that life in a community required effort, understanding, and patience, and they were ready to continue building harmony. The quiet night wrapped around the house, leaving David and Mia with hope and... The following morning, David and Mia woke to a quiet neighborhood. The previous days had brought small victories and a growing sense of peace. Their home was beginning to feel truly like their own, and the garden bloomed with bright colors that reflected their happiness. After breakfast, David suggested that they take a short walk to visit a nearby coffee shop. Mia agreed, and together they stepped outside, enjoying the warm sun and the gentle breeze. As they walked down the street, neighbors waved politely. Some smiled, some nodded, and even a few who had seemed distant before now greeted them warmly. The couple felt a sense of connection that had been missing when they first arrived. As they approached the corner near the park, Mia noticed Linda standing near the sidewalk. She was watching them closely, her arms crossed and her lips pressed into a firm line. Mia felt a small knot of tension, but she held her head high. David whispered softly, "Remember, calm and polite. That is our strength." Mia nodded. "I know. Let's just focus on ourselves." They continued walking, smiling politely at Linda but not engaging in conversation. Linda muttered something under her breath, clearly frustrated, and turned away. The couple exhaled quietly, relieved that no confrontation had occurred. Later that afternoon, as they returned home, David noticed a small crowd of neighbors gathered near the street. Some waved and called out greetings. One of the neighbors, Nora, approached them. "Hi, David. Hi, Mia. We heard about your efforts to improve the community," she said warmly. "We appreciate your patience and kindness," Mia smiled. "Thank you, Nora. We are just trying to be good neighbors. It is not always easy, but it feels good to connect with people." David nodded. "Yes, small steps make a big difference." As they prepared to go inside, a knock came at the door. David opened it carefully and found 2 police officers standing outside. Their expressions were serious but calm. "Good afternoon," one officer said. "We received a call from the HOA again. There seems to be concern about the property and some rules. Can you explain what is happening?" David and Mia exchanged a glance. "Of course," David said. "We have been following all the rules. We have also sent a polite letter to the HOA to clarify any concerns. Linda seems to be upset, but we have not broken any rules." The officers listened carefully, asking a few questions about the events of the past week. Mia answered calmly, providing clear and concise information. The officers nodded, clearly satisfied with her explanation. After a moment, the officer who had recognized Mia from her past work spoke quietly to the other. "She handled everything very professionally," he said. "There is no reason for further concern. The complaint appears to be unnecessary." Mia smiled politely. "Thank you. We are only trying to maintain peace in the neighborhood." The officers gave a few reminders about documenting any future issues and left, assuring David and Mia that they were fully within their rights. The couple closed the door and breathed a sigh of relief. That evening, David and Mia decided to focus on their home. They spent time in the garden, watering the plants and arranging small decorations. The neighborhood was quiet, and the warm colors of the setting sun reflected off the walls of their house. As they worked, they heard a sudden shout from across the street. Linda was speaking loudly to another neighbor, pointing toward David and Mia's home. It was clear she was unhappy about the continued, calm and positive response from the couple. Mia turned to David. "It seems our efforts to stay kind and patient are making her uncomfortable," she said quietly. David nodded. "That is okay. We cannot control her behavior. We can only control ours. Let's continue doing what is right." Later that night, the couple sat on the porch with a cup of tea. The stars were bright in the clear sky, and the neighborhood had settled into a peaceful rhythm. "We have faced so many challenges since moving here," David said softly. "But I feel proud of how we handled everything." Mia rested her head on his shoulder. "Yes, staying calm and respectful has helped us more than arguing ever could. It also shows the neighbors who we are." The quiet of the night surrounded the house. David and Mia felt a sense of strength and confidence. They knew that challenges could arise again, but they were prepared to meet them with patience, clarity, and kindness. For the first time in weeks, they truly felt at home. Their house was not just a building. It was a place of safety, respect, and growing community. They understood that life in a neighborhood required effort, understanding, and resilience. Together, David and Mia felt ready to face anything the future might bring. The morning sun filled David and Mia's home with warmth. The events of the past week had been challenging, but the couple felt stronger and more confident. Their small garden was full of blooming flowers, and the house finally felt like a place where they belonged. After breakfast, Mia suggested that they take a walk around the neighborhood. David agreed, and together they stepped outside, smiling at the familiar streets and waving to neighbors they had grown to know. The air was fresh, and the quiet morning made them feel peaceful. As they walked, several neighbors waved at them warmly. Some stopped to chat briefly, asking how they were settling in. Mia and David felt a sense of connection that had been missing when they first arrived. Their efforts to be friendly and patient were beginning to show positive results. Just as they approached the small park, Mia noticed Linda standing nearby, observing them. Her arms were crossed and her expression was serious. Mia felt a small twinge of tension but reminded herself to stay calm. David squeezed her hand gently, signaling that they could handle this moment with patience. "Good morning, Linda," David said politely. "We hope you are well today." Linda's eyes narrowed. "I want to make sure that everything is in order," she said sharply. Mia smiled calmly. "Linda, we are following all the rules, and we have also sent a letter to the HOA to clarify any concerns. We are happy to communicate and ensure everything is clear." For a moment, Linda looked unsure. She muttered something quietly and walked away without creating a scene. David and Mia exchanged a small smile, realizing that their calm and respectful approach was working better than any argument ever could. Later that afternoon, they hosted another small gathering at their house. Neighbors from the street came over, bringing snacks and stories to share. The atmosphere was lively and friendly, filled with laughter and conversation. Even those who had seemed hesitant before now joined in. Mia and David listened patiently to everyone, offering kindness and attention. The gathering created a sense of community that had not existed before. People began to understand that David and Mia were genuine, respectful, and friendly neighbors. As the gathering ended, several neighbors lingered to thank them. "You have done a great job bringing people together," one neighbor said. "It is nice to see the neighborhood so connected," Mia smiled. "We just wanted to create a place where everyone feels welcome. It feels good to see it working." Even Linda, who had been watching from across the street, seemed quieter and less critical. She muttered something under her breath but did not approach the house. David and Mia felt a sense of relief. Their patience and consistency had begun to change the dynamic of the neighborhood. That evening, the couple sat together on their porch, enjoying the soft glow of the sunset. The streets were calm and the warm colors reflected off the houses. David put his arm around Mia and smiled. "We have faced so many challenges since moving here, but I feel proud of how we handled everything." Mia leaned her head on his shoulder. "Yes, staying calm, clear, and respectful has made a difference. We have shown that kindness and patience are stronger than conflict. Even people like Linda can see that." The quiet of the night surrounded the house, and the couple felt a sense of accomplishment. They had turned a tense and difficult situation into a lesson in patience, communication, and community. Over the next few days, life in the neighborhood continued to improve. More neighbors greeted them. Children played safely on the streets, and the small garden flourished under their care. The house felt alive with warmth, peace, and friendship. David and Mia realized that they had learned an important lesson. Challenges could be met with patience, respect, and understanding. People responded positively when approached with calm and kindness. They had created not only a home but also a sense of community and belonging. On a quiet evening, David and Mia sat on the porch with tea, watching the stars appear in the sky. The neighborhood had settled into a peaceful rhythm. They felt proud of what they had accomplished together and grateful for their strong bond. "We have truly made this house a home," David said softly. "Yes," Mia agreed, "and we have learned that patience and respect can overcome even the most difficult situations." The night wrapped the house in calm and gentle silence. David and Mia felt safe, content, and confident that they could handle anything that might come in the future. Their home was no longer just a house. It was a place filled with trust, friendship, and peace. As they went inside to rest, they knew that the challenges they had faced had made them stronger. The neighborhood was no longer a source of stress, but a community they could enjoy and contribute to. Together, they had turned tension into harmony, and their home had become a place of happiness and belonging. David and Mia smiled at each other, feeling proud, peaceful, and ready for the days ahead. Their journey had taught